and also Stargirl Lost Children. I'll now just quickly prepared in regards to what I'll be reviewing first, and first things first, I'll be covering The Flash. So, does this cover in any way, shape or form connect to something that is happening inside with the story? Sure enough it does, to which we meet the character of Miss Murder here, and we have the speedsters here, to which we've got Impulse, Kid Flash, and of course Barry Allen. To which I give the cover a 7.5 out of 10. Now it's time to move inside of the story as we get to see what's happening inside story-wise and along with the characters. So as the story begins, we get to see what's happening with the Wally West family, and we see that something has happened with Jai in relation to the Force, or the Speed Force, and he's practically stuck in position like everyone else, but we have Irie there trying to get Jai up. As things continue, we have the Spire making its landing and practically letting out those who are connected to this Speed Force to invade the Earth. As the story continues, the characters meet a little bit of opposition, and take note that a lot of these things that are happening are all somewhat connected to the Speed Force. So they're practically up to speed to the speedsters. We, of course, have Jay Garrick make his appearance and to help pretty much save the day, especially with the young heroes, which I think was really nice. Of course, we have the appearance of Max Mercury doing his best in the situation to halt the invasion or the attack on the speedsters. And last but not least, we slowly move towards the end, and we get a reunion of all the speedsters who are actually able to fight in this particular attack. And last but not least, the character known as Miss Murder. So for the internal art, I give a 7.5 out of 10. Now it's time to move in relation to the story rating, to which first things first, did we get any comic references? To which, yes we did. Thank you, Jeremy Adams, for remembering to put in your comic references. They help with continuity. Unlike some of the other lazy writers at DC who seem to forget these things. I don't care if it's the writers or the editors. This stuff is important. So, what was the first comic reference we got? The first was to Flash 783, which is a little bit earlier in the Flash run. Run by Jeremy Adams, and it's working around getting the return of Barry Allen, and of course the Flash 1 Minute War special. The next is the Area of Time. Well, the closest thing that we've got to time in this is actually where we are time-wise in relation to the story, part 02. Moving into the second. So this is going to be very interesting. And I'm definitely looking forward towards the end of this. The next is the location. Of course, we had the Wally West household, and we also had the Spire, which we saw pretty much at around the beginning. The cast of characters consisting of the Wally West family, Impulse, Kid Flash, Jay Garrick. We had Barry and Iris Allen. We had Jessie Quick, or Miss Quick, make an appearance, Max Mercury, and last but not least, Odium, who is also called Miss Murder. For the overall story rating in this, I give it an 8 out of 10. For those who might not be interested in picking up anything Flash related, and you want to get into something Flash related, I highly recommend this series, because I might as well share this a little bit. I've seen some Flash related things, but I've never really been that big into the Flash. My key stories that I actually enjoy, of course, we can't forget the Super Sons, one of my big favorites. Of course, Batman and Superman, providing that they're written well and not written by Bendis or possibly Tom Taylor. But that's not to say that I won't read their works. But if you really want to get into something a bit fun, Flash related, I highly recommend you pick up the Jeremy Adams series, and you might even want to pick up the Mark Waid Impulse. It runs in the family trade. Well, it's now and 40 overall story rating and 8 out of 10. I'll now move into the next one, to which I'll be reviewing, and that is Stargirl, The Lost Children. And moving into first things first, does this cover in any way, shape, or form connect to something that's happening inside with the story? Sure enough, it does, but it's a little bit lower on the cover rating, to which I give it a 7 out of 10. I feel it could have been a little bit better in its presentation, but overall, it does the job for what it's going to give us. It's now time to move into the internal arts, which we'll get to have a look around the beginning, middle, and of course the end. And as the story begins, we return to Orphan Island, to which this place is called, and we end up meeting up with, well, some of the lost sidekicks. As we move into the story, we've got the character of Wing, Airwave, Cherry Bomb, of course Stargirl, and we got Robbie the robot dog. And as you can see here, they're now trying to see if they can attempt to, as they got stuck on the island, attempting to maybe get away off the island. They move in a little bit closer to another area, and we find out what's happening with Imiko and where she is, until we finally meet the childminder and some of the ones that she is holding captive. We learn that there are those who have actually tried to make an escape, but you know what? This is probably one of my favorite pages in all of this. Thank you heaps, Jeff Johns. This is probably the best. Not only that, we also do get a bit of an introduction as to who they all are, but in this case, I'm just going to call them the Lost Children. In other words, all the lost sidekicks. And it's really nice how it's done here. Really well executed too. I'll move into some of the pages where we actually get to meet who they are. I must admit, this one right here, the character of Gabby, reminds me a little bit of John Kent, the young John Kent, under Jurgens. Just got to point that out. And of course, we've got John Henry Irons, plus many other of the sidekicks. Absolutely incredible. Of course, we meet the Quiz Kid, who's connected to Mr. Terrific. And of course, we can't forget the Time Master. Absolutely fantastic job. We get to see what's happening with Imiko. Yeah, we're getting a lot of spoiler here, so and I don't really mind that, because it's that good. I mean, it's that good. And of course, Judy Garrick, who's called the Boom. And And no doubt, Comic Boom would probably get something out of that too. I like that she's called the Boom because it reminds me of Comic Boom. So, for the internal art, I give a 7.5 out of 10. Fantastic work, fantastic job. Now it's time to move in relation to the story. Did we get any comic book references? No, we didn't. Does that affect the story? We'll soon find out. Next is the area of time. We didn't really get much in relation of time in this, though we know where we are location-wise, which is Orphan Island, and we also got the other side of the island, but not actually knowing if it's the north part, south part, east part, or whatever. Of course, the cast of characters consisting of Stargirl, Imiko, of course, Wing, Airwave, Cherry Bomb, Robbie the Robot Dog, Childminder, of course, the characters that made up the Lost Children. We had Corky, the Time Master, and Judy Garrick, the Boom. For the overall story rating in this, I give this an 8 out of 10. If you want something else as well on top of what to enjoy, check out Stargirl The Lost Children by Jeff Johns. You're going to enjoy this just as much as I am. Until then, let's keep it colourful and have yourself an awesome day.